they'll be desperate to carry on this story, won't they? But they're relatively inexperienced in the Premier League. So how many do you think will be given a chance?
That's the big decision. It comes down to, there's going to be players that you potentially think you need to maybe improve their position. Nothing wrong with what they've done, but you can maybe improve that position in terms of for a Premier League profile over a Championship profile. But that's down to what they're going to spend. They're going to miss targets. They're going to maybe get a player that comes up that they never expected. Doug King and Frank are going to have those tough conversations. I think when you're looking at the starting lineup, we were kind of almost, if this team's going to be in the Premier League, how many of them do you actually see that actually playing in the Premier League? We maybe come up with about 4 that we think can play in the Premier League now and actually play well. Other than that, you're saying, right, it's harsh, but the others would have to grow into it, and it's always tough to decide of, have you got time to grow into the Premier League?
When I was at QPR, the recruitment was so many players, and it just didn't work. I feel like with Frank Lampard there, you look at him, he's going to bring in the right players to galvanise the squad.
And that's it, you see here, Frank Onyeka, who they bought in January, I believe it's an obligation to buy if they go up. His experience was massive this season. It's going to be even more important next season because of the way he plays, the way he is. But you see, throughout the team here, it's so tough. Obviously Wolfenden's there, Sims, so not many. Obviously Onyeka, only one with over 80. The rest of them are under 20. So I think Frank's experience himself is going to be the thing that has to kind of galvanise this group, but definitely to add Premier League talent to it next year.
These are some great scenes on the pitch as well, just behind us as the fans are going around, and they're still, we're still packed. We're never getting out of here tonight, Jobi. This car park's going to be a nightmare. But look, they deserve to soak in every moment. Frank Lampard now going around the pitch with his family. Okay, so he's got loads of experience playing in the Premier League, but actually he's had his stint managing there as well. How do you think he's going to fare with this? Because if you look at who's more experienced, come on, we know that's managing, but he knows this league.
He does. Listen, what Frank Lampard do, what Coventry City do is going to depend heavily on that recruitment. It's a fact. These are Championship level players. Yes, Frank Onyeka's come in and he's obviously played at Premier League level. Other than that, no regular, real Premier League experience. And when you do step up, it is a massive gulf. We found that at Reading for sure. We didn't add enough of those sort of 7 out of 10 week in, week out at that level. I know everyone's been talking about it, but a Granit Xhaka at Sunderland, prime example where you know what you're going to get every time he steps out onto the pitch. That increases the competition in the squad. Yes, players will have to move on, but it depends how they go about it, whether it's loans. I don't think there's going to be an endless pit of cash. That's not how Doug King has done it. So those characters, the experience is going to be absolutely vital to give them any chance.
Jack Redoney, by the way, is struggling with the trophy today because he has been waiting so long to have the shoulder up, and only this week when they got over the line did he get the all clear to go and do that. But Sunderland spent 180 million when they went up to the Prem. So, when we're talking about that much money, are Coventry going to have the licence to do that, Jay?
I don't think they're going to have the licence to do that. It's a different owner. At the end of the day, I think, like Jobi said, like Curtis said, you have to bring the right players in. It's the right type of players, the right type of quality that can benefit everyone and make that team better. I was at QPR when QPR got promoted, and you're bringing players in, and they've had great careers, but you're giving them big money, and then they come here, they got no hunger. So, like you see with Sunderland, they've brought in players that are hungry to win.
I think Xhaka as well, when you speak about Xhaka at Sunderland, that was a good point, Jobi, because once Xhaka's in the building, it sells the project. So in terms of if you're a player and you say Frank Lampard calls you up, he wants you to have a meeting about going to Coventry, and there's no one through the door yet, you're going to be the first one to dip your toe. It's hard to then say, oh, we've got this one, that one on the list. It's like, yeah, of course you have Frank. But when Xhaka went in Sunderland, all of a sudden, start seeing people building around it, and that's going to be key to it, getting that first big signing in to sell the project to the players.
Yeah, and I think the type and the profile is really important. I think where the game has moved on, that physicality, athleticism, you see Leeds United and the type of player that they've brought in, mobility, and again, that's one area I do look at Coventry City, maybe when they were stretched at time this season, in terms of covering distance at pace, that's where they did struggle, whether it is a Grimes in midfield, the 2 defenders. So I think it's really important in terms of that physical profile. That is now the blueprint, really, when you look at what those teams have done.
I think they have to go through the spine of the team. That's important. They need to bring pace into the defending areas. Again, more quality in the midfield. But then I think Haji Wright, he's going to have a big season next year. When we look at the player, I stepped up. It's difficult to go and play as a striker in the Premier League. He's getting chances every week here. In the Premier League, you might not get a shot on goal every weekend. So it's going to be really difficult. But again, like Jobi said, it's the right type of player that comes into the squad.